Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today, or night, as the case may be. I think you'll enjoy what we have in store for you. In honor of my guest today, I started working out on a Nautilus machine about a week ago and pulled muscles I didn't even know I had. I wanted to do the free weight system, but I was afraid I'd drop a dumbbell on maybe a vital part. Anyway, my guest today started back in 1951 in television. He is a pioneer. He started in the days when there was only wrestling, maybe Pinky, well, we know what happened to wrestling. Pinky Lee was on the air as well. I don't know what happened to Pinky Lee, but I think he came back as Richard Simmons. My guest, though, was a big star in his own right, and he is here today, Jack LaLanne. Jack, it is good to see you again, sir. No pictures, please.
Rick, I hate to admit this, but it's sure nice seeing you.
Well, thank you. You too. And why don't you introduce Carol?
All you folks out there, I want you to stand up. Good exercise.
Here we go.
And give Rick a big hand.
Oh, I thought we were going to exercise.
I have
Thank
here
you, Jack.
one of my dear friends. This is Carol Grant, and she is in the fitness business. She goes to these big corporations and sets up exercise and nutrition plans for all these thousands of people.
As you did years ago,
yeah,
right?
she's really doing a lot of good.
All right.
And just recently, you know, I was voted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, we're going to find out how that came about.
Carol is the one that made it all happen.
How did it happen? Carol, tell us what happened. How does one get on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? I've been trying for years.
Have you? Well, maybe I could help you out. I don't know.
Okay, maybe so.
Now that I'm a veteran at the process, huh? Well, you know, the truth is Jack is really the one that got the star. And all I did was submit him and go through the process. Had a lot of help from Senator Ed Davis, who lives here locally on the Central Coast, and Arnold Schwarzenegger also were both influential in helping to make it happen.
Fellow bodybuilder.
Arnold and I have been friends for many years. There's a classy act.
Is that, you know, everybody says so. I'm glad
Arnold,
to hear that.
he does so much good that you don't even hear about, helping all these poor downtrodden kids, and he's all into fitness and getting people to work out. He's very unselfish with his time, and he's really helping people.
That could all go down in the tubes, though, if he runs for governor. You never know what's going to happen. Sorry about that. Anyway, all right, back to Carol, though. So you submitted his name.
And an application. Okay. There is a committee that selects the recipients. They look at their contribution to not only the industry, television, films, whatever it may be, but also to the community. And it's very competitive. This year they told me that there were 300 applicants, and just in the category of television, which was Jack's category, and they selected 14.
Whoa.
So
that's
very
heavy
competitive.
Competition, isn't it?
Yeah. Very long overdue.
And when were you notified exactly, and how?
They called, actually. The applications, on an annual basis, the applications are due the end of May. The committee takes the month of June to decide, and then I wasn't sure how they were going to let us know, but they actually called to let me know that he was selected, and then shortly after that it was out on Associated Press, and the world knew.
Oh, and kind of coincidentally, because he's no friend of both of ours.
Just day before yesterday, you know, I never knew anything about this at all.
When did you find
out? I work out early in the morning.
Oh,
you know.
Well, it was a surprise, yes.
And I'm in the gym working out, and I hear on the radio, Regis Philbin and Jack LaLanne have been moved into the walk. I nearly dropped a weight on my head.
The Bobbsey twins,
And I couldn't believe it. You know? I went in, I woke Elaine up, and I said, "Hey."
As I have, you've known Regis for about 40 years too, huh?
Oh yeah.
From his San Diego show. Did you go back that far with him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Were you ever on his San Diego show?
No, but I'm the one that got him working out.
Oh, is that so?
You know, Regis, he never did go into with the nutrition thing as much as I did.
Yeah. Well, nobody does as much as you do. Yeah.
But he still works out. He goes to a gym all the time, and Regis looks great.
He really does. You know.
So like that, we've been friends all that time.
Yeah. There's a guy who prevailed. You know, he had a lot of failures along the way.
Regis, you name me one successful person that really hasn't had failures and disappointments, you know.
You're the only successful person I know, Jack. I forgot to tell you that.
But that's if I hadn't been beaten down, I'd be 6'4" now. You know, when you're the first one to get people, you know, women working out with the weights and the athletes working out with the weights and old people working out with the weights. Way back in 31.
That's when you
and
really
all the
started
doctors
bodybuilding, right?
Well, I had my first gym. I was still in high school.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
And the
I
doctor,
believe
don't
it,
go to
but I
that
can't
Jack
believe it.
LaLanne, you guys, that'll wreck your love life, and you women look like
that's
men.
right. Now,
you
as a-
athletes will get muscle bound. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you had to support yourself by being a masseuse for a while, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that's what I
I
did
remember that now.
when I opened my first official spa in 1936 in Oakland, California. Well, I thought, my God, I was going to do all this great business, but people were staying away from me like I had the plague. So I had to massage people for 6 months to pay my $45 a month.
You must not
I was
have rubbed
paying
them the wrong
$45
way,
a
huh?
month right in the middle of downtown Oakland.
And look at
That's
the
something.
multi-billion-dollar industry that he created.
I know. I mean, there's so many gyms.
Somebody
out
has to
there.
start something.
You had over
I didn't do
100
it, I just planted the seed.
Yeah, but you had 100 gyms or more, didn't you? At
Oh yeah, one time, yeah.
before, you
Then we
decided
got
to
rid of all Valley. We sold most of them to Valley.
Yeah. Well, back to this, because this Walk of Fame thing, I mean, that's an honor that not too many people ever achieve. Any idea when? I should
You
think
shouldn't
so.
have.
Any idea when they're going to have the big ceremony where you,
You know what I'd like to have it is on my birthday.
and when is that?
See, I'll be 80.
Seven.
I'll be 78 years old in September 26th.
September 26th.
But if they could do that on that birthday, we don't know yet. But I mean, we're going to suggest it.
Yeah, we don't know yet. They'll be letting us know. They spread them throughout through the course of the year.
Oh, is that the way they work that?
Right,
Okay.
and, they
I
haven't
would really
notified
love
us
to be
yet.
there for that occasion.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll let you know.
There's rarely that I'll
I
ever
would
go
too.
to Hollywood, but you would too. My father-in-law celebrates his 87th the month before you do. We'll be right back, but he doesn't work out like you. I'm going to try and get him doing that.
Well,
Be
that's
right
his
back with Jack and Carol.
Now you can enjoy the beauty of the Central Coast from your hotel or living room by watching Hometown Life and Table for Two on Channel 6. Local television at its best.
See any good movies lately?
Mattress and Bed Superstore proves that the top name brands Sealy Posturepedic doesn't have to be expensive. Only $4.99 for a queen size set. Sealy is #1 in sales and customer satisfaction surveys. Free delivery and setup, or free bed frame with qualifying purchase, and free removal of old bedding at Mattress and Bed Superstores in the Laguna Village Shopping Center, San Luis Obispo, and Albertson Center in Atascadero. But hurry, sale ends soon.
The Box Express carries boxes for shipping or moving, UPS, FedEx, private mailboxes, notary service, packaging supplies, and is a utility pay station. Go see Lisa at Box Express.
If dedicated, high-level personal service is important to you, when you're ready to buy or sell coins, stamps, gold, or silver, then California Coin and Stamp is your store. You'll find Alan and Lois Crawford there to help you 6 days a week, and you can find them at 253B Granada Way, San Luis Obispo, off South Higuera between Tank Farm Road and Prado Road, or give them a call at 541-8775, 541-8775, and tell them Rick sent you.
Back with Jack LaLanne and Carol Grant, who was instrumental, as a matter of fact. She was the person who submitted Jack's name for the consideration of the Committee for the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and you will be nominated at some, I mean, you're nominated already, but we'll have the ceremony upcoming before long. I wanted to ask you too, Jack, and you're in this business now, Carol. What do you think about these, because I remember your show. I really do. You know,
Yeah.
I was
I spent a lot of time on
semi-mature
the
at
floor
that
with your
time.
mother.
There you go. Oh, boy, that's terrible.
Well,
Anyway,
that's all right. We did a lot of exercise on the floor.
I know you did, and with a chair and with a towel and with a
That's
broom
right.
and all that. I
You
remember
never saw a
that.
fat chair.
Never saw a fat chair in my life. At any rate, when you were doing that, and you did it for 34 years,
Right.
what do you think about these new exercise programs that they have now with the guys with the big pecs and the big everything and overdeveloped this, and
Do I have
women
to
with the
answer that?
overdeveloped? Yes, I'd like you to answer that.
There's good and bad. You know,
Okay.
there's good. I don't know. The trouble is, see, they should go into the whole aspect about the positive thinking, about the nutrition,
The health
and about anything in
aspect.
life is possible. You got to get the people's brains. You got to get the exercise is something you got to do the rest of your life. It's not something you're going to do for 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. It's a lifestyle. And that's my philosophy. That's what they should be teaching on television, about what they have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, about taking supplements, and about normalizing their weight, and doing the whole bit, you know.
Yeah, it's not just the weightlifting itself. I sometimes wonder why these young men are pumping iron so heavily. It's just my opinion now. To make themselves monstrously
It's
big.
ego.
You know, why not?
To win a contest right now, right now to win the Mr. Universe or anything, you cannot win one of those contests without using drugs.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
There's no way you can
can't
bulk
do it.
up that
You know,
big.
they have natural Mr. Americas.
Yeah.
And you should see those guys compared to the ones that are on the muscle enhancing.
Well, you look back at the days of Charles Atlas, for example. By today's standards, if you judge him against somebody on these programs, which
He
I'm
looked like an
alluding to-
11-year-old
Yeah.
kid.
Absolutely right.
These guys, there's no limit.
Yeah.
See, these athletes, they know the deleterious effects that can happen from drugs. In fact, two of the most famous bodybuilders, I won't mention their name, just died recently. Two brothers. They weren't even 50 years old.
Ooh,
See, all in this, it's drugs.
that's a little scary.
Yeah.
Well, as I recall from our last talk and from having watched you so many times, it's the effects of working out in the gym and your diet, your sleep, everything is considered. And it seemed to recall you saying that any food created by man is
If
a
man
detriment.
makes it, don't eat
Don't
it.
eat it.
Well, let me think about it now.
All right.
If man takes a piece of grain, like a whole grain, whole oats, whole corn, and he processes it, takes all the bran out of it, and kills the germ so it'll last longer, and he adds preservatives to it, well, it's not a natural food anymore. A lot of
Yeah,
the
that makes
nutrition's
sense.
out of there, and that's what they do with everything. Most of your fruits and vegetables today are picked green, and most people take the vegetables and they cook them, and they boil them, and they take the water with all the vitamins and the minerals and they throw it down the sink, so you end up with a healthy sink. You know, this is the way. See, cooking kills. That's why people should get at least 5 raw vegetables every day, at least 3 pieces of fresh fruit, and the grains you eat should be 100% natural whole grain.
What is your favorite meal?
Evening. It always has been.
Oh, the
Dinner
evening meal.
has always
All right.
been our favorite. You know, Elaine and I were, we're always busy with our family, with our kids,
Yeah.
and we'd always eat with them. We'd never eat, we would eat there with them to answer questions and be with them. But Elaine and I would always have our dinner afterwards with candlelight. And we had a gal that lived with us, a Hattie Martel, used to fix our meals, with her. And so this was a big time of us at the end of the day. And we still do that. That still evening meal is our big meal.
Yeah, I like that too. But I like breakfast too. I don't know why.
Well, breakfast is one of the most important meals of the day.
That's why I like it, I suppose.
What do you have for breakfast?
A couple of eggs, bacon or sausage, 2 pieces of toast, potatoes, and a glass of
Well,
orange
that's good. You're
juice.
getting your protein. I mean,
Yeah.
you're getting a lot of protein.
My
That's
wife
good.
really feeds me good.
Yeah.
And sometimes probably I know I eat the wrong things all the time, but
Well,
I'm
see,
going to die
like
one of
the
these
eggs are
days.
great. I have 4 egg whites every day of my life. I just eat the whites.
Oh, see, I've got to have that yolk.
Well, it's
Yeah,
well, the only thing is they're
it's a-
extra calories,
I know,
but
I
if
know.
it doesn't bother you, if you could, because there's been so much untruths about eggs. Eggs are one of the greatest foods on this earth. Anything that can produce life and can sustain life, eggs have everything in them.
Oh,
of
thank
course, they have
God.
that cholesterol now, but now they're saying you can eat 2 or 3 eggs a day and not to worry about it,
I have been doing that all my life. It's I
Good.
confess.
Well, look, you're still
You
here.
wouldn't believe that I'm only 42. 42, would you, Andy? All right. I want to ask you about some of the stunts you've done over the years here, like
Yeah.
what was it, 75 boats you pulled in San Francisco. But by the way, I do my own stunts on the show. We need to know that. Was it 75
No,
boats?
the whole thing started when I was 40 years old. Everybody thinks when you're 40 years old, you're over the hump. You're too old to do
Yep.
those things, and you can't swim because I was winning physique contests and and lifting weights, and you can't swim because you're muscle bound.
Yeah.
So I put handcuffs on, and I jumped off the Alcatraz prison. I swam over to the mainland, handcuffed, to give the prisoners hope.
That was why.
No, but this made publicity all over the world, and this guy, and so I did. And then every 3 or 4 years, I would do a birthday feat that was more difficult.
Yeah.
So one year I did 1,000 chin-ups and 1,000 push-ups
Oh, I
in an hour
remember
and
that
20
one, too.
minutes.
Yeah.
Another one I water skied behind a helicopter that fell on islands and back, and another birthday I swam Golden Gate underwater, handcuffed, 15 feet underwater, under the Golden Gate. Then another year, I swam in Long Beach. I towed 70 boats.
That's the one I was trying to
with
think.
70 people in the boat. My feet and hands were tied 1.5 miles.
On his 75th
On my
birthday.
my 70th.
The 75th, I was going to ask that. Now, I have 1 minute here, but I want to find
My
out
70.
how in the
my,
world...
My 87th birthday is coming up, in a few weeks.
Oh, don't tell me what you're
I'm
going
going
to
to
do.
tow Elaine across the bathtub.
Oh, oh, that's very good. And for those of you who may not know, Elaine is Jack's ex-wife after today. No, I'm kidding. Just quickly, though, you had your hands tied and your feet tied. Now, how in the devil did you swim?
All
and-
strength, 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 strength.
Did you-
To do that stuff, you got to train for months, boy,
Well, Jack, was there ever a time when you were doing that you thought you might not make it?
Yeah, the Long Beach thing.
The Long Beach thing.
My son, John Allen, our young son, was on a surfboard, next to me.
Yeah.
And we got a big wind came up in my face. And for about 15 minutes, I didn't even move. The boats were pulling me. But then the wind subsided, and my son said, "Now don't quit, Dad." He said, "Come on now, don't quit. You always tell us never to quit. Keep going." And I kept plugging, and finally we made it. But that was close.
Got to take another real quick break. Please don't go away. We'll be back with Jack and Elaine LaLanne. Home Appliance Center is your one-stop local superstore for all major appliances. Family owned and operated since 1985, Home Appliance Center features factory-authorized sales and service of all major brands, including Maytag, Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and GE. Plus, you can save money on as-is appliances, all with full factory warranties. Same-day delivery and service in most cases. So come to Home Appliance Center at 951 Grand Avenue in Arroyo Grande and have a honey of a day.
Ladies, browse through the wonderful selection of affordable fashions at Les Boutique. 60% new, 40% pre-owned merchandise, 100% affordable.
Everybody's shopping at As Seen on TV, the most unique store on the Central Coast. As Seen on TV stocks everything you'd like to order from TV infomercials for less. There's no shipping and handling costs, so you save money. There's no waiting, and you can check out the product before you buy. Come in and browse at As Seen on TV, open 7 days a week in the Ralph Shopping Center, 871 Oak Park Boulevard, Pismo Beach. As Seen on TV, call 481-3776. Cheers, everybody. We are back. Jack LaLanne
Rick, I have to
and
tell
Elaine
you.
LaLanne is here now.
This is my boss.
Yeah.
Here we go.
This
I
is
have
the
to
lady.
tell you,
What little success I've achieved in my life, I owe to Rick, then to Elaine.
Oh,
Well,
yes,
thank you
right.
very much, Jack.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
You asked a question earlier, and you said, how in the world did he do it with handcuffs and,
Yeah.
and his feet shackled? He swam like a dolphin. In other words, like,
That would be the only way you
oh,
could, I'm
and that's
sure.
the only way he did it.
Yeah.
And when he started out, it's very tough to get him all those things started. So it gives a lot
No, 70
stre-
bullets. That's,
I can't believe
stress
that.
on your
you
back.
got to be
But they
crazy.
moved.
You got to be crazy to do those things.
I'm sure that's true.
I mean, you have to be.
Yeah.
If you don't, oh.
If he does
cool.
anymore, Rick, I'm divorced.
Well, you know,
divorcing
I'm
him.
wondering-
I've said this
I
on
say you don't
national
have to
television.
be crazy to do those things, but it helps.
Okay. Let's find out a little bit about you two now. I met you like 18 years ago at one of
Forever.
the clubs. Yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
forever now. But I don't know the story on how you met. Maybe people would like to know how the TV. I know you were in television
Well,
2 or
Elaine,
3 years
Yeah,
before
well,
Jack.
I was on television in San Francisco at ABC, KGO-TV in 1949. And I was on a television show from 4:30 to 6 every day called The Les Malloy Show. And I was the Girl Friday. Today I would be a co-host, but I programmed the show, I produced the show, I got all the guests, and then I also appeared on the show next to Les. And we did that every day for 5 days a week. Plus the fact on Saturday I did Miss U.S. Television. I got all the ladies from Miss U.S. Television in the San Francisco area.
Oh,
so
boy.
I was very busy in those days. When I got a call from this person over in Oakland, California, saying, "I've got this guy over here that can do push-ups through your whole show." I said, "Wow, that's pretty neat."
Through the
we
whole
could
show.
just pan over and we could just, pan the camera over there and we'll look at see him
Yeah.
doing the push-ups. Well, it was Jack LaLanne, and and then of course in 1951 he started on television, and And I always tell everybody, I was smoking cigarettes and eating bear claws and chocolate donuts, and he'd come over and say, the only thing good about the donut is the hole in the middle. And then he would say things like, you should be eating apples and bananas and oranges. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't tell you. So I go, oh, yeah?
Yeah, and how many years have you been hearing that, Elaine?
We've been together since 1951.
Many
You got
years.
married in 51?
No, we didn't get married.
you didn't get
We've
married.
been together that long.
Oh, you
No,
darn.
when we met in 19... Honey, we danced at a company party, and we've been dancing ever since.
You know, that
Rick
marriage
knows
thing,
we were dancing.
You know, that marriage thing, you got to practice for it, so.
Yes, you do.
Rick
took a
knows
few
we
years
like
to-
to dance, don't you, Rick?
Yes, you do, Elaine.
We used
19
to
well,
go listen
now-
to Rick sing and
Okay,
dance.
Now, though, Elaine does everything except the speaking and the working out for you. You line up all of his speaking arrangements and all that, don't you?
right. And
She runs the whole bit.
But I also, when we speak, we lecture all over the country and the world, really. And I usually introduce him, and I tell my little story.
Oh, you're
about
the warm-up act.
Oh,
huh?
I do the warm-up
I
business,
gotcha.
I get them all doing this
Yeah.
and that, and the walnut walk, and the Pointer Sisters jump. I've got that going.
She has no enthusiasm.
No, I know. I've
That's her
noticed that. It must be contagious in the family. Hey, Jack, if I could, before we come to the end of this program today, I know you love to sing, and I know you can, and you have perfect pitch.
You're going to sing.
No, you're going to sing.
Oh.
I sing later. But I have to tell you, Jack prefers to sing a cappella, and that's fine
And no
with me.
accompaniment, too.
No accompaniment either, yeah. We got 3 minutes here. What song would you like to sing?
Elaine has done so much for me her whole life. Her whole life has been me. And I like to sing a little something to Elaine, okay?
All right, you sure may. Here's Jack LaLanne, and a little something for Elaine.
If you were the only girl in the world, and I were the only boy, nothing else would matter in the world today. We could go on loving in the same old way. A garden of Eden just meant for two, with nothing to mar our joy. I could say such wonderful things to you, and they would be such wonderful things to do if you were the only girl in the world, and I were the only boy.
Oh, my. Very nice.
And he sings on key.
I like that kissing, no
Oh,
calories.
you like the...
Everybody says he sings right on key, right on the
he
button.
was. He was right on... Boy, I haven't heard that song in a long
Isn't that a
time.
good
If you
song?
were the only girl in the world, boy, would you be popular. That's the way we do it. DJ stuff. Yeah. Very, very nice. Perry Como with a lot of verve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost said ballsy voice, but that
Oh,
doesn't sound
Perry.
proper on the show. Very, very nice. I'm
you
so
gonna
glad
sing
you
now?
guys came by. Is there anything, Jack, that you haven't done that you still want to do?
Yep.
Tell me what it is.
I want to swim from Catalina Island to Los Angeles underwater.
Over my dead body.
See?
I want to swim, it's 26 miles. I'll be underwater 22 hours. I'll change tanks every hour and a half. Nobody can be around me. I have to eat underwater and a whole bit. I've had that in my mind for quite a few years, and I could do it.
I know you could do it, but why? You've already done everything.
Look, anything in life is possible. I want to prove that, it's a challenge.
No, I couldn't
it
even swim on
challenges
top
your
of
Are
the
you
brain.
any
water.
good attorneys?
looking for,
I'm getting a divorce.
looking for an
She
out
said-
here.
She says, I promise, I'm going to divorce you. And I say, promise?
Oh, that's terrible. Listen, I have to say goodbye, but I thank you so much for coming
Let me
in
tell you
today.
something
Thank
now.
you.
We've been
Yes,
friends a long time.
Yes, we have.
And all you ladies and gentlemen that are watching, if there are more people in the world like you, Rick, it'd be a better world. I mean that from the
That's
bottom of my
very nice
bottom.
of you, Jack. Just thank you for showing up. Elaine.
Bottom of his athletic
Love you,
heart.
sweetie. It's really been a pleasure. I feel honored that you were here.
Thank
And we'll be right back, ladies and
Keep
gentlemen,
up
with
those
a song
workouts,
spot.
all of you.
Oh, I do. Look at that.
Mattress Outlet, your lowest price. Mattress Source, the largest selection. Great prices too. With same day delivery, it's so easy to do. Factory direct means savings to you. Mattress Source.
Let Meeks light up your life with a wonderful selection of lamps and lighting, both indoor and outdoor lights, residential, commercial, and landscaping, plus custom-made lamps and repairs. Meeks Electric and Lighting, 984 Grand Avenue, Grover Beach, phone 489-9154.
Advanced Hearing Aid Center in San Luis Obispo offers digital hearing aids for the same cost of conventional hearing aids, and satisfaction is guaranteed. If you think you have a hearing problem, call Alex today for a free hearing evaluation. Don't go a minute longer having to ask people to repeat themselves or having difficulty in hearing people over the phone. The price is right, and the time is now to see Alex for a fitting to begin better hearing at Advanced Hearing Aid Center, 628 California Boulevard, Suite B, in the California Medical Center.
The Sports Dome has the greatest selection of sports memorabilia, including favorite team barbecue braziers and helmet snack bowls. Also blanket throws, pillows, t-shirts, jackets, pennants, wallets, and much more, all with your favorite team logo. The Sports Dome, 1312 Grand Avenue, Arroyo Grande.
For the biggest and best pizza on the Central Coast, make tracks to Sam's Giant Manhattan Pizza, 883 Oak Boulevard in the Ralph's Shopping Center. Eat so good.
Pardon me if I'm sentimental when we say goodbye. Don't be angry with me, should I cry? Now you're gone and I'll dream a little dream of years gone by. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Now and then there's a fool such as I am over you. You taught me how to love, and now you say that we are through. I'm a fool, but I'll love you, dear, until the day I die. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Here comes the chorus. Sing along at home. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Till next time, everybody, thanks for looking in. Tell a friend.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. We have Miss Etiquette coming up in just a few minutes here, and later on, Jackie Rodriguez. I think you'll find them both interesting. You know Miss Etiquette. We're going to talk about an article in the paper here. First, I want to show you what I picked up at As Seen on TV, my favorite little store in Pismo Beach. I was having back problems, I always do. And Mike Wilson, the manager, says, or the owner says, have you ever tried this stimulator? And I said, no, I saw Lee Merriweather on TV doing it one time, and I can't imagine it working. So he pulls my shirt up and hits me back there 3 or 4 times with like a little electric charge. No, and you know what? I felt better. I really did. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, and Anita, if you have a pacemaker, which I know you may have, you cannot use these. But it's $29.95, and you know what? And I have arthritis in that finger there, and I hit that 3 or 4 times. Damn, that hurts. Really feels good.
Does it have a battery?
I don't know what it is, really. You want me to do it one time? Feel it?
Oh.
Now you'll feel so much better later on. Anyway, it's available there, and it does work. It
How much
really
is it?
does. $29.95.
That's a deal.
It's called
Yes.
Step by Step Stimulator. Well, I need stimulation, so there's that. Okay, Anita.
Yes.
Shower. Look at this little article in the paper. Not little, picture and everything, huh?
Ink.
Yeah,
Lots of ink.
Manners Maven of the Central Coast. I had to look up Maven.
I figured you
Yeah.
would. Did you enjoy that?
Favorite movie, Dirty Dancing.
He's a great dancer.
Oh, we're back to Patrick Swayze again. Whatever happened?
And it's also a very good soundtrack.
It is a good soundtrack.
Terrific.
Some great songs in it.
Great songs.
I like this one. There's a right way and a wrong way to behave in every situation, even the bedroom.
Yes.
I heard you got a little flack on this.
Of course.
You should brush your teeth, your feet should be clean, your sheets should be clean, and both of you should have a condom. Boy, you're going for the world.
I'm asking a lot, right?
Yes, you are.
It's important.
But it is important.
It is all important.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a very good article, and it's July 8th, 2001. If you missed it, go through your old
You're in
papers
there too,
and find
right?
it. Huh?
You're in there also.
It mentions that you're
Very
on the
good.
show occasionally. Anyway, it's nice to have you here. I'd
you
rather
very
talk
much.
to you than shake hands with an octopus.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, you look very nice again.
Thank you.
My question is about wedding invitations. Both my husband-to-be's parents and mine are living, and we are soon to marry in a church. Everything about our wedding is extremely traditional and formal. My parents are paying for almost everything except what the groom traditionally pays for, such as the rehearsal dinner and such. The wedding invitations say only my parents' name, and the groom's parents say this is completely bad etiquette. Are they right, and what can I do?
The person who pays for the wedding has their name on the invitation.
That's the father of the bride, usually.
Correct, but I wrote and told them that the groom's parents at this point may issue a reception invitation, and on that invitation they say that they are paying. Well, they don't say that they're paying for the reception,
Yeah.
but because it's in their name, then you know that they are. So that's how you can split it. The bride's parents are on the wedding invitation, and if the groom's parents are going to do all that they're supposed to do,
Yeah.
then their name goes on the reception invitation.
Okay, did you get all that? Because I have a headache.
No more weddings.
All right, now I got another one here.
Oh.
We attended a wedding April 29th. My husband is very concerned, owner of his company's daughter. What's that mean? My husband is very concerned. He's the owner of his company's daughter.
I don't think that's right, but go ahead.
I don't think it is either.
But that's what it says.
That we have not yet received a thank you note. Oh, he's upset he hasn't received a thank you note. He says, what if this did not get it? What if they did not get it? I'm sure he means. Store verified that UPS delivered it in April, so I don't think that is it. What is maximum time brides have before sending out thank you notes? Oh, that's a good point.
Well,
2 days.
3.
4 days. 3 days.
No, the rule is 3 days. If you're having a very elaborate wedding, then you
Yeah.
put someone in charge of keeping the list of the gifts, and someone may write the thank you note for you, but you sign it. But
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
you may. If you're having 120, 130, 200 people, you couldn't possibly do that all by yourself.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to do them as the gifts come in. This person may call the bride and ask her, did you receive the gift?
Ah, I see. All right.
You may do that if it's been months and months.
Well, you get a lot of requests about weddings.
A
don't
lot.
You know,
It's
there's
a
something
huge business.
It's something you have to be very careful. I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when you first get married, if you get past the first 3 or 4 years, I think you basically haven't made. But I remember we were living in San Diego in about the second year of our marriage. Stormy, we were in bed. Stormy was really crowding me a lot, you know, and I couldn't go to sleep. And finally, I leaned over and I said, "Would you mind moving?" Next to her, she was in Fresno.
I like that.
But it's true.
It's cute.
She took it wrong. Okay, we have time for a couple more here. Let's see. My daughter graduated from college 2 years ago with a 4-year degree. Invitations and announcements were sent out, and she received money and gifts.
Nice.
You know, I forgot to do that. Oh. She is receiving another college degree shortly and would like to know if it is proper to send another announcement for this second degree. She's thinking anyway. That's why she got the first 2 degrees.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary at this point. If you see people in conversation while
by
on
the way,
the
I'm
street,
getting
you
another
can say,
degree.
if it comes up, you know, did you further your education, you might say something. Otherwise, as you know, it sounds as though you're looking for gifts.
Yeah, well, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, she is, isn't she?
Yeah. Okay, I got one more here before we move on for a break here. What is appropriate when giving a sympathy card to a coworker who has lost a loved one? Should everyone individually sign the card, or should it be signed from the department?
It shouldn't be a card. You know how I feel about that anyway.
Flowers.
You don't send a greeting card for a sympathy. You're supposed to handwrite something on a piece of paper.
Well, I assume she meant a sympathy card, though.
Well, she meant she's going to go buy a card from Hallmark.
Yeah.
That's a greeting card. What you're supposed to do is just write "I'm sorry" on a very nice piece of paper. We did that at work several years ago, and everyone signed that very nice piece of paper.
Okay, so the answer is don't buy it at Hallmark, write it
Write
yourself.
it out, and then
have
if
it
everyone at work, and you sign your complete name, you don't sign your first name as though you're still in the 5th grade.
signed. Okay. Going to take a short break,
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen. Please pay attention to these commercials, and we'll be right back.
Now you can enjoy the beauty of the Central Coast from your hotel or living room by watching Hometown Life and Table for Two on Channel 6. Local television at its best.
See any good movies lately?
Mattress and Bed Superstore proves that the top name brands Sealy Posturepedic doesn't have to be expensive. Only $4.99 for a queen size set. Sealy is #1 in sales and customer satisfaction surveys. Free delivery and setup, or free bed frame with qualifying purchase, and free removal of old bedding at Mattress and Bed Superstores in the Laguna Village Shopping Center, San Luis Obispo, and Albertson Center in Atascadero. But hurry, sale ends soon.
The Box Express carries boxes for shipping or moving, UPS, FedEx, private mailboxes, notary service, packaging supplies, and is a utility pay station. Go see Lisa at Box Express.
If dedicated, high-level personal service is important to you, when you're ready to buy or sell coins, stamps, gold, or silver, then California Coin and Stamp is your store. You'll find Alan and Lois Crawford there to help you 6 days a week, and you can find them at 253B Granada Way, San Luis Obispo, off South Higuera between Tank Farm Road and Prado Road, or give them a call at 541-8775, 541-8775, and tell them Rick sent you.
Oh, we're back. Okay, I'm with Anita Shower, Miss Etiquette of the Central Coast and the world. You've been invited to lecture in Pakistan?
Isn't that exciting?
I think it is.
I don't even know the language.
In fact, I have that letter
should go
here,
with
and
me.
I'll find it again in a little bit. Very interesting letter. But Pakistan. Okay, my friends, female, are taking me out to celebrate my 50th birthday. My husband is very upset that he was not included. Well, husbands are wont to get that way. Should they have included him? Your prompt answer is greatly appreciated. Ta-ta.
Absolutely. He's going
Absolutely what?
to absolutely invite him. He's going to
Oh.
say no.
Oh, I thought absolutely he should be upset.
Well, absolutely, he should
Yeah.
be upset. And yes, they should have invited him and given him the option of saying no.
But wouldn't he be the only male
We
there?
call that the rooster at the hen party.
The lucky guy.
It happens.
All right, so he should be invited.
He should be
All right.
invited.
Here's the one. Hello, I am Farouk from Lahore, Pakistan. I am involved in conducting seminars on the subject, meaning etiquette, I would
I
assume.
hope so.
I wish to have you here for a series of seminars. Please give your views about the proposed idea. Best regards, Farouk.
Isn't that
I'm
lovely?
not making fun of Mr. Farouk. I'm just doing my best Pakistani accent that I can possibly. Are you going?
We're under negotiation right now. Sure. I'd love to go.
Man.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Isn't that neat?
Of course, they have to come across with the travel arrangements.
Well, that could
I
be
don't
that
eat much,
expensive.
so that's really not
You don't
the
eat
problem.
much and you sleep in a tent.
That's
from
it,
what
I can go.
understand. Manfred taught you well. Here's an interesting thing that you brought to my attention here. The most asked question, 42% of brides and grooms to be say, how to request money as a wedding gift is the most challenging etiquette issue. Well, I assumed that it would be. I couldn't do that.
It's horrid. It's awful. And then the cartoon today in the LA Times with Kathy was, Kathy was talking to her mother about going online for someone who's getting married and how you can put money towards their trust deed payment on their new house, and something about their car payment and how you can give money to pay off their credit card.
Yeah.
It's horrid.
That's a little much, isn't it?
It's supposed to be from your heart, the gift, and because of love, not because you're in debt and you're getting ready to file bankruptcy.
But it is a thought. Could clear your debt so quickly. Here's one. When addressing graduation announcement/invitations, do you also put the names of those invited on the inside envelope or just leave it blank?
No, you don't want a blank envelope anywhere. You put their name on the inside. Okay. Some schools of thought say you just put Mr. Jones as opposed to Mr. Tom Jones.
Well, if it was Tom Jones is too busy to answer
Right.
that request. What does one wear to an evening wedding, 6:30 p.m. or later, with a cocktail reception in a home garden? There's a question.
Would I say combat boots?
I think you did.
Instead of high heels.
Yeah.
6:30 and afterwards is always a black tie. I suggested that the young lady call the hostess to see if they're going to be walking around on grass or on a solid surface so she would know what to do about shoes.
Well, combat boots would suffice in a case like that.
Would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Did you know that 1 out of 8 marriages end in divorce? 1 out of 8. Unless, of course, you're Johnny Carson and it's 3 out of 4, but 1 out of 8.
He was
That's a
married
little
a
scary,
lot.
isn't it? Yeah, he was married a lot.
A lot.
Okay. Oh, I already did that one. If a dinner is posted as coat and tie, what would be a proper way to tell a woman to dress? By telephone or?
You're not really supposed to tell people to dress or how to dress. We're supposed to know. But if
She didn't.
She didn't know. If she's going with a gentleman, I hope in the coat and tie, wear some kind of evening attire. You wouldn't go in shorts or.
Now, do women wear? Is it proper to wear a short skirt? You know, they got these mini skirts.
Oh,
They're
yeah, I
really
love
mini
them.
now. Oh yeah, to a wedding reception though.
No.
That's
No.
okay.
It's not a skin show, and you're not supposed to take the light from the bride.
Oh, okay, that's
right?
what I figured. I knew that would be your answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. I am a single woman, self-sufficient, with 2 nearly grown children. I would like to know where a good place is to meet people, not a bar, who might share the same interests as myself. I live in a small town in southwestern Wisconsin. Not that it matters. It's
Poor
appropriate
thing.
wherever. Oh, you mean just for
No,
living in
it's
Wisconsin?
sad. If you have a hobby, find out through looking in the yellow pages if there's some kind of group that meets that does, you know, hang gliding or needlepoint, or you like music, find out if there's a music group. If you read, find out if someone reads books and they meet once a week and discuss the book that they've read. Or, you know, the standby is to go to church, go to synagogue.
Yeah, or have a drink and think it over. You
Have
know.
a drink and think it over.
All right, so there are a lot of places to go. You
Sure.
got church, you can go to kite festivals, balloon festivals, anything.
Book festivals.
Here's one in addressing, oh, this is a good one. In addressing a minister and wife, is it Reverend and Mrs. or is it Reverend, Mr. and Mrs.?
Actually, it's the Reverend.
It is the Reverend.
The
A lot of people
Reverend.
forget that, don't they? Yeah, okay. My daughter is being baptized next month. I would like to have a lunch afterward at a restaurant. How do I request on the invitation for each for each family to pay for their own meals?
Baptismal invitations aren't usually in print anyway. You call on the phone and ask someone.
Oh, is that a fact?
True.
I
And
didn't
it's
know that.
usually within a week that you do that. It's kind of a happy thing, and you decide to do it, and you call someone right away and ask them if they would like to be there. And, you know, this is the budget thing also. If you don't have the money to do it, don't do it.
Yeah,
How was that? Was that all right?
it really hurts.
can't really invite people out to dinner and then ask them to pay.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Try the other side.
Well, you know, no, this is the side
Oh,
that
that's
hurts.
the side that
Okay.
hurts.
Let's see. Annie, what did you give me, a minute? Okay. My husband's friend wrote us telling us that he is surprising his girlfriend with an engagement party at a local bar or restaurant. Since it is a surprise, I don't know if he's proposing there and who else is coming. Knowing only this, do I bring any sort of gift? That's a
No.
good question.
No gifts to an engagement party. If you're very close to the couple and you want to give them a gift, have it sent to the home. But you do not take gifts to engagement parties.
You know, a lot of your answers are pure logic, but there are a lot of things you really have to know.
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't happen. It's taken you years, hasn't it?
Yes,
really?
it has.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, you did a wonderful job.
Thank
Let's
you.
do this again. Next time we'll get all dolled up in formal attire, and we'll talk about formal receptions, formal weddings, and things
Are you going to wear a
like that.
tuxedo?
If I can find one that fits.
Okay, that's a deal.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank
Anita. I
you
really
very
appreciate it,
much.
my dear. Okay, we'll be right back with Jackie Rodriguez, interesting young man. Home Appliance Center is your one-stop local superstore for all major appliances. Family owned and operated since 1985, Home Appliance Center features factory-authorized sales and service of all major brands, including Maytag, Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and GE. Plus, you can save money on as-is appliances, all with full factory warranties. Same-day delivery and service in most cases. So come to Home Appliance Center at 951 Grand Avenue in Arroyo Grande and have a honey of a day.
Ladies, browse through the wonderful selection of affordable fashions at Lay Boutique. 60% new, 40% pre-owned merchandise, 100% affordable.
Everybody's shopping at As Seen on TV, the most unique store on the Central Coast. As Seen on TV stocks everything you'd like to order from TV infomercials for less. There's no shipping and handling costs, so you save money. There's no waiting, and you can check out the product before you buy. Come in and browse at As Seen on TV, open 7 days a week in the Ralph Shopping Center, 871 Oak Park Boulevard, Pismo Beach. As Seen on TV, call 481-3776.
Hello, I'm Alan Crawford, co-owner of California Coin and Stamp. We look forward to your patronage and appreciate your business. Look forward to your viewing Rick at Night, and you'll enjoy his programming. Thank you.
Homies, don't you know me? I'm the rapper from Rap City, having a rap attack, and it ain't no pity. Middle name is Chillin', have not been illin', kicking it all the way live. Break the chains that bind you, don't let them find you. Be a man, take a stand, show 'em who's boss. Little homies in the street, no one can have your sympathy. Born to be rough, growing up tough, hustling for every dime. Living in the ghetto, I was penitentiary bound, running for my life. Say, Mr. Policeman, what seems to be the fuss, boogie to the bust. Give me some of that backbeating rhythm, funky jive. Don't damage the merchandise. Give me some of that funk, they call me spunky. Let's get funky. I'm psyched, I'm pumped, it's time to jump. I'm a real live wire, so don't mess with me, cause if you do, you're messing with the best. Unlike all the rest, I stood the test of time. Let's do it till it hurts. Before I knew it, my head was spinning. I was in court grinning, down with the hammer. Judge said, homeboy, you're going to the slammer. Don't be late, better not hesitate. You got a date with the warden's daughter. Hit the slamming door, homeboy knocked me to the floor. Went out like a light, came to, got up on my feet. Connected with the left, then a right. Down went homeboy in the night. Dropped him like a bad habit, did a nickel in the skull. Did not fall, doing time, making rhyme. Life without parole, life in the fast lane.
Little rap song called Life in the Fast Lane by the Flow Master, Jackie Rodriguez. Not to be confused with Christina Aguilera. Good to see you.
Glad to be here.
How are you?
Thank you, Rick.
Let me just give a little background on what I do know. I don't know a lot about you, and we're going to find out right now. I know that you're trying to help out the kids. I know you've gone through a lot of personal problems, a lot of illnesses, and you're trying to reach out, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what you hope to accomplish in life.
Well, I want to work with the kids and show them that there is a better way, and that living out in the streets and running the streets and getting in trouble, it's not the way to live your life, and to respect your parents, and that there are good things out there in life, and there's people that are willing to help you.
Did you personally have to learn this the hard way?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, all right. What are some of the problems you encountered or got yourself into?
Well, I came from a dysfunctional family. My dad didn't have a dad. His dad left when he was 10 years old. And so I basically grew up on my own. And it's hard when you don't have someone there that you can talk to about your problems. So
yes, it is.
You just go out and you search for the answers out there in the streets, and they're not there. What you run into out there is just hardcore people that just try to take advantage of you or do whatever it is they can, you know.
So what's your best advice, Jackie, to the young people out there watching the show tonight that are encountering all these problems, and peer problems and problems with their parents, problems at school? What do you suggest?
I think you should give your life to the Lord and let Him work in your life. And once you turn your life over to the Lord, He'll work in your life and He'll guide you in the right direction. Because without the Lord in our lives, we are lost. So,
is that what happened to you?
Yeah. I got liver disease. I got hepatitis C, hepatitis A. I had yellow jaundice. I was severely dehydrated. I was evicted out of my home. I lost my driver's license. The woman I was with, she left me. So I must have moved about 15 times in a year, living in motels and on the streets. And the military didn't work out. Jail, went there. I didn't like that.
I would imagine you wouldn't.
No, I had a little taste of that, and so.
So you have your life on a level keel right now, you think?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Now you're a young man yet.
I'm going to work in the churches, and I'm going to form a band called the OCS Original California Sound, because I'm Jackie Lee, aka the Flow Master, and OCS Original California Sound is the name of my. It's also part of my name of what I do, my music. I want to be a speaker and travel around the world and talk to kids all over.
Maybe you can go to Pakistan with Miss Etiquette. You never know.
Pakistan? Well.
Yeah. Well, that's around the world.
Oh,
I wanted to show this here. You got a very good review on this. Live in the Fast Lane, the Flow Master, in the Santa Maria paper, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Very, very nice.
Very nice lady that did that for me.
You have to get your message out there, and you're going to do it through the recordings and through some television appearances such as this, and also some public appearances, right?
Yeah, public appearances in the churches, giving my testimony of my life, all the tragedies that happened throughout my family, to relatives of mine, and just showing that there is a better way out there to live your life, that you don't have to go out there and get yourself in trouble, and you don't have to impress your friends and be cool and do drugs and stuff like that and drink, because all that does is, well, eventually it will just claim your life because you'll get a disease or something bad's going to happen to you.
It'll ruin your life.
Yeah.
Jackie, I wish we had more time here, but I've been wanting to get you on for the longest time. I'm sorry that you had an accident on the way here.
Yeah, I was in a car wreck.
We're going to have to look at your star.
I was in a car wreck, and my head hit the windshield and hit the side of the deal. My whole side was caved in. One of your workers here saw the car.
Well, I hope things turn for the better for you. It's time.
Yeah, I've been wanting that to happen. I've been praying every night, and I try to do good in my life. And I know there's temptations out there for everybody.
It is.
And the closer you get to the Lord, the harder the devil. He likes to attack you and come at you in different directions.
All right, Jackie. Thank you very much for coming on. He's called the Flow Master, Jackie Rodriguez. He has a CD, and I assume it'll be available when you make your performances.
Yeah.
The Flow Master, all right? We'll be right back with the song spot. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen.
Mattress Outlet, your lowest price. Mattress Source, the largest selection. Great prices too, with same-day delivery. It's so easy to do. Factory direct means savings to you. Mattress Outlet, your lowest price. Mattress Source.
Let Meeks light up your life with a wonderful selection of lamps and lighting, both indoor and outdoor lights, for residential, commercial, and landscaping, plus custom-made lamps and repairs. Meeks Electric and Lighting, 984 Grand Avenue, Grover Beach, phone 489-9154.
Advanced Hearing Aid Center in San Luis Obispo offers digital hearing aids for the same cost of conventional hearing aids, and satisfaction is guaranteed. If you think you have a hearing problem, call Alex today for a free hearing evaluation. Don't go a minute longer having to ask people to repeat themselves or having difficulty in hearing people over the phone. The price is right, and the time is now to see Alex for a fitting to begin better hearing at Advanced Hearing Aid Center, 628 California Boulevard, Suite B, in the California Medical Center.
Hello, my name is Ray Lamberth at Home Appliance Center in Arroyo Grande. Thanks for watching Rick at Night and Day.
One of my old favorites here, recorded by Perry Coleman many years ago. It's called And I Love You So.
And I love you so. The people ask me how I've lived till now. I tell them I don't know. I guess they understand how lonely life has been. But life began again the day you took my hand. And yes, I know how lonely life can be. The shadows follow me, and the night won't set me free. But I won't let the evening get me down. Now that you're around me, and you love me too. Your thoughts are just for me. You set my spirit free. I'm happy that you do. The book of life is brief, and once the page is read, all but love is dead. That is my belief. And yes, I know how lovely life can be. The shadows follow me, and the night won't set me free. But I won't let that evening get me down. Now that you're around me,
see you next time, everybody. Thanks for looking in. howdy, everybody. Thanks for joining us today, or this evening, as the case may be. We're going to get right to it today because we have a lot to do. First of all, we're going to talk with Carol Leslie of Volumes of Pleasure and look at some books she has brought in for us. We'll talk a little bit about that. And later on, we'll have a couple of ladies here who are going to show you how to accessorize maybe one of your bland outfits, or maybe a black outfit or a gray or whatever, just by changing whatever, scarves and things like that. I'll be trying a few of those clothes on myself probably. You never know. My first guest today is Carol Leslie. Good to see you again, Carol.
Nice to be here, Rick.
Hey, it's been a while.
It has.
You've been very busy, haven't you?
I have been. A lot of water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Well,
There really is.
I've had to roll my pant legs up.
You've had to go back and forth down to Southern California,
Right,
haven't you?
right.
What did you bring us today?
Well, today I wanted to start with T. Jefferson Parker.
All right, you ready,
now,
Annie?
I don't have his latest book with me because we sold it out, which is, according to my partner, the thing we're supposed to do at the bookstore. Not warehouse books, but actually sell them.
Yeah.
So his latest book is Silent Joe.
Best book you
And
ever
you've
wrote.
read it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm hoping he will maintain this character that he introduced in this book. Young man.
With the scarred face and
the
all that,
scarred
yeah.
face. And I saw him, I was telling you about it before the show, he was on the Pat Morrison's book show. And it was very nice to see what he looked like because I had never met him.
Yeah.
And his character is kind of loosely based on, remember that David Rothenberg, who
was
child
burned so
who was
badly?
burned so badly with acid because his father didn't want the mother to have him, kind of a thing. And that's kind of based on that. It's a very interesting book. It holds your attention, didn't it?
I
Hold your
remember that
attention?
story.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a great book. It really
And
was.
it's out on tape. So
Do you know who's doing the narration by any chance?
I don't remember who it is, but it's an excellent narration.
Good.
The guy has a great voice.
Some of them aren't that good, you know.
No,
They really
no.
aren't.
I'm very pleased with. I mean, I brought this one along because I know you like Ridley
I like
Pearson.
Ridley very well. Oh, The First Victim, that was a great book, too.
It was, yeah. And you know, Stephen White, who we like very much, he's also
Who came
on.
to your store that time?
Yeah, his mother. His mother.
I know,
I
I
got
know.
confused, didn't I? Oh well.
Oh, yeah, the program. Huh?
The program. Anyway, the reason I brought books on tape was to remind me, because we're all way too busy today, but we're stuck in our cars, and this is a great way to keep up with the latest books.
Kill time and ignore traffic, too, you know. I mean,
Exactly.
you can still watch the traffic while you're listening, you know, something
Yes,
like that.
I find I'm driving to Southern California in a lot better mood as long as I have a book to
Whatever
listen to.
works.
Whatever works,
Beats
that's
that,
right.
that hot metal rock
I can't
or
be
whatever.
going like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, then I brought Elizabeth
Okay.
George. What I thought was interesting is what you said before, is that out of the 10 top sellers of the
8 of them are female.
8 of them are female. So I wanted to bring along Elizabeth George because this is her 11th book with the Inspector Thomas Linley. And they're, unlike some of the novels, they're quite lengthy. Like this one is 722
It
pages.
feels pretty heavy, yeah.
So you can't just rush through them. She's very good at describing characters, and she lives here in Huntington Beach. You were talking about
Oh,
Westminster.
that's
She lives
right,
in
yeah.
Huntington Beach and in London. So she
Must be hard making a choice there, hopping across the Atlantic.
must be
like that,
hard.
yeah.
She has a great appreciation of music and literature. So I would say this is a cut above, and some people who like literature and music and consider themselves erudite in this area would love her stuff.
I love that word, too.
Erudite?
It just triples off the tongue, doesn't it?
Well, erudition just triples off our tongues.
Erudition, I love that, too. What else you have there, kiddo?
Anyway, one of my favorites, very different from Elizabeth George. Elizabeth George is more ponderous and detailed in her character development. This is Erlene Fowler. Has a warm spot in my heart because I've known her since her first book came out, and this is her 8th. And they take place in a town called San Celina, which is San Luis Obispo. So there's a nice feeling, and you get a chance to read about our local area. One of her mysteries takes place in Morro Bay, and there's a picture of Morro Rock on the front of it.
Well, that's kinda
And
nice, isn't
Another
it?
one's called Seven Sisters, after the 7 volcanic boobahs that we have on our
Yeah.
landscape.
I was trying, was it you that brought this book in before? Did you bring this in before?
I talked about one of her other books. This
Oh,
is
maybe that
brand
was it.
new.
Okay, because I was trying to remember who the radio personality was that went by the Arkansas Traveler. And if I'd have known
Oh,
you'd
there
bring
was
this, I'd have
one?
looked. Yeah, there was.
Oh, Oh, I didn't know that.
He wasn't very funny, though, really, as I recall, but I was a little boy at the time, so I'm not sure. He may have been, and I didn't realize it.
Or you might have been wise beyond your years,
Maybe,
and
yeah.
he didn't have it.
Chances.
Anyway, Arkansas Traveler, she travels for a family reunion back to Arkansas, and so it's very contemporary. It's a racially mixed town, and the woman is her best friend is a black woman, a mayor who's running for, and her son gets killed. And so, of course, Benny Harper is to the rescue and solves the thing.
You know what? I'm enjoying reading female authors once in a while. I didn't think they'd have the, for lack of a better word, yeah, maybe that's a good one, to get into, but they do. Some of them are really, well, they're all sharp, but I mean, some of them really get into, they kind of write like you'd expect a man to write, maybe.
Right,
You know, about violence and so forth. I love violence as long as it doesn't
It's
happen to
on
me.
the pages of the
Yeah,
book.
right.
Well, a lot of people like her. We have a section in our store that we refer people to. If we ask them, well, who have you read before? And if they'll give us an author, we can tell they like cozy mysteries or what I call benign mysteries.
Yeah.
And so we have a whole raft, a list of those kind. And Arlene Fowler would certainly fall into that. There's not much gore or...
And do you file them that way, benign?
No,
so?
not really.
Right.
But we talk to the people. We thought about doing that, though. In
Not
our
a bad
store,
idea, maybe.
in our store, we separate the American writers, mystery writers, because according to some of our customers, we have one of the best mystery sections. We separate the English from the American, and people like that because there's certain people. I just want to read English authors. That's all I like.
In fact, you have a very cute store, if I can use that word. I mean, it is a cute store, but you have other offerings as well there that kind of dolls it up and I think highlights your books that you have lined up.
Sometime when I come on the show, we'll talk about a little bit about, if it's all right, about the book business and why we have taken up all these others. We even have sarongs to accessorize your outfits in our store because we just have to sell something other than books because we just can't make it on books alone.
Okay.
But one lady came into our store not too long ago and said, there's all these different things in different areas in your store. Is this one of those stores that has consignment things? And I said, no, this all came from our fertile imagination.
That's kind of wild. There are a lot of those stores out there right now, though.
Oh, yes.
We have time to do one more before we take a break here.
Oh, well, let's do Philip Craig.
Okay, Philip. No, I haven't heard of him either, I don't believe.
This is his 12th novel. He's got 12. The reason I like him so much is because I once spent a little bit of time on Martha's Vineyard, and I have very fond memories of it, and you have such a sense of place with his. He even includes in the front piece of all of his books a little map of Martha's Vineyard, so you know where everything is and all the roads that he's talking about in his stories.
When we get back from this break, Carol, I want to ask you how you really remember all these things about all these books. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, well, I'm old.
We'll take a short break. Stay with us, please.
We'll leave on that note.
All right.
Hi, I'm Dana Wilk, owner of Morro Bay Custom Golf. Right now, we are jam-packed with inventory at unbelievable prices. For example, Wilson leather gloves retail $18 each. We've got them 2 for $7.99. So come on down and see us and discover how you can save a lot of money.
Home Appliance Center is your one-stop local superstore for all major appliances. Family owned and operated since 1985, Home Appliance Center features factory-authorized sales and service of all major brands, including Maytag, Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and GE. Plus, you can save money on as-is appliances, all with full factory warranties. Same-day delivery and service in most cases. So come to Home Appliance Center at 951 Grand Avenue in Arroyo Grande and have a honey of a day.
Ladies, browse through the wonderful selection of affordable fashions at Les Boutique. 60% new, 40% pre-owned merchandise, 100% affordable.
Everybody's shopping at As Seen on TV, the most unique store on the Central Coast. As Seen on TV stocks everything you'd like to order from TV infomercials for less. There's no shipping and handling costs, so you save money. There's no waiting, and you can check out the product before you buy. Come in and browse at As Seen on TV, open 7 days a week in the Ralph Shopping Center, 871 Oak Park Boulevard, Pismo Beach. As Seen on TV, call 481-3776. All All right, we're back now with Carol Leslie, owner of Volumes of Pleasure bookstore and sarong selling place in Los Osos.
Incense, candles, whatever.
Incense, candles, whatever. I should mention that this show will be shown on Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. I don't do this very often, but I've heard people who haven't found it yet. Mondays at 7, on Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 9 o'clock, and on Fridays at 2 in the afternoon. I hope you wrote that down because I can't repeat it. Now, you were going to suggest something we talk about the next time you come in. What was that?
Well, I think some of your viewers would find it interesting the great lengths to which we go to find the titles that they don't describe very well.
Yeah.
For example, one of the classics that the seniors are reading this year during the summer, they're going to be seniors next year, is a book called The Education of Little Tree. And a man came in and said, I want a book, it's about education of feet. And I said, is there a movie just recently? Yeah, there's a movie. And it turned out to be The Education of Little Tree.
Oh,
so it's about a Native American boy.
Yeah, I've heard that thing when I go to the library occasionally, too. You'll hear people that try to describe what it is. It's usually me doing that, as a matter of fact.
What's most difficult is when they describe what color it is. That makes
Oh,
it
man, that's great. Yeah, you should remember all that.
Yeah.
She's back, huh?
Sue Grafton is back, and in great form. She's going to go right through the alphabet. I read her religiously, or faithfully, however you want to put it, A through F or G, and I love the one that is centered around the hot springs
Avila.
at Avila,
yeah.
And that was a great one. And then I kind of wandered away from her. I took her up again. I thought some of the stories were a little light. I took her up again about L, and they're just great. Barbara and I happened to take that one to Denver, and we listened to it on the road. It was excellent.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny, though, if you read a particular author and you read his entire volume of work, for example, years ago, I started reading Louis L'Amour.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way he described the land and the gunfighters and all. Yeah, the feel for it. And then after about 10 books, which I started collecting, I thought maybe someday, if I ever have any offspring, they might enjoy having it. Every character, every hero, every protagonist was exactly the same. Slim-hipped, deep-chested, broad-shouldered and all that, and I know it isn't that way, you know. Mm-hmm. And the description has started to come the same. It sounded familiar. And you do find it with a lot of authors. They get into this thing. But then, if you stick with them, maybe 2 books later, they'll break loose again, you know?
Yeah. I think she had a breakthrough about there. She's she's going to go through the whole alphabet.
What the hell is she going to do after that, I wonder? Go by numbers?
I don't know. She'll probably retire.
One is for lonely?
Oh, no. Look, that is a wonderful segue. It's a perfect segue, Rick.
Look at that.
This is called 7 Up. And
Ivanovich, huh?
Her first one was called One for the Money.
So she's going
2
through
for
the numbers
dough,
already.
3, yeah. Now she's on 7.
Well, Grafton will have to do maybe vowels or something like that, or consonants.
Or something. Yeah, because she's doing
the number.
Have you
read this yet?
These are wonderful. They're not as benign or cozy, say, as Erlene. The language is a little racy. In fact, on one of them, I had to put a kind of a disclaimer, don't look at your grandmother because it has some bad words in it as far as listening. But her character is Stephanie Plum, and she starts out by being downsized. She was a department store clerk, and she gets downsized, so she's out of a job. So she says, what shall I do? And she decides she's going to be a bail bonds person.
Oh, really?
Well, that's quite a jump from a department store.
I think so, yes.
And they take place in New Jersey, and if you hear one of them, the woman has the reader has, and kept the same reader all the way through, the reader has such a great New Jersey accent, and you can, if you only hear one, from that time forward, you hear that voice speaking in her books.
That's a gift.
That's an incredible piece of work. But she has characters that it's zany, it's clever, it's fun. You laugh out loud. So not only is it a good mystery, it just lightens you and releases all those endorphins while you laugh.
And what about sales at your place? Do you do more fiction or nonfiction? Have you ever really kept track?
I never really kept track of that. We always keep track of book sales versus sidelines, and of course the sidelines are growing fast. Paperbacks way outsell, of course, and the mysteries way outsell any other area of our store.
Oh, was that so? I wasn't sure about that. Yeah. Isn't it amazing the cost of paperbacks, how they've gone up? God, I remember when I first bought them, they were 35 cents. I just tell you how old I am.
Well,
But everything has.
And that's another thing that when I come back and we talk a little bit about the book business, I can go into length of why the price is so up. Because I think it's inordinate. I think it is inordinate and higher than it needs to be had the book business not changed so
But then so is gasoline and electric power and food and everything else. This is the next one?
Yes.
All right.
And this is an absolutely, I know it's a heavy tome, but I don't know if you've read any other of David McCulloch.
I haven't read him.
The biography of Truman. So now we're into nonfiction. This is a book about John Adams. And Barbara and I were so pleased when this came out because of all the founding fathers, he is our like #1 hero.
Really?
And I think David McCulloch has brought him out. You know, there's lots about Jefferson, lots about George Washington, Benjamin Franklin. And this is John Adams, who was a
funny-looking fellow,
fiercely independent. He was irascible. He was always the honest Yankee patriot. And he and his wife Abigail, the letters back and forth, they've been preserved, and it's probably the best American romance of real people that's ever been in the history of our country. They're just
sounds interesting.
Because he honored her in so many ways and valued her opinion. I mean, this is way before.
Well, if a husband is smart, he does that with his wife all the time.
Well, if he is, but there haven't been a lot of wise men.
Oh, why were you looking at me when you said
small-minded?
I
should
have time
have
for
said.
maybe one more here.
Okay, well, let's talk about
the big one.
Let's talk about. See, we always bring more than we can do.
That's okay.
Vicki Leone, you know her, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Local person. Yeah. Uppity Women of the New World. She did Uppity Women of Antiquity, Medieval, Renaissance, and now this is her latest. And it's great for grandmothers to give women, young women.
She's a fine writer. She really is. Okay, so all these books are available at Volumes of Pleasure, Los Osos, Valley Road, and that little place there where you can get those wonderful, wonderful chocolate.
Right next to Carlock's Bakery. Have to give them a pitch. Everybody knows Carlock's.
I know. They make the greatest brownies in the world. Thank you. We'll do this again soon, and we'll take your advice and talk about how the book business works.
Sure. Hello, my name is Ray Lamberth at Home Appliance Center in Arroyo Grande. Thanks for watching Rick at Night and Day.
Now you can enjoy the beauty of the Central Coast from your hotel or living room by watching Hometown Life and Table for Two on Channel 6. Local television at its best.
See any good movies lately?
Mattress and Bed Superstore proves that the top name brands Sealy Posturepedic doesn't have to be expensive. Only $4.99 for a queen size set. Sealy is #1 in sales and customer satisfaction surveys. Free delivery and setup, or free bed frame with qualifying purchase, and free removal of old bedding at Mattress and Bed Superstores in the Laguna Village Shopping Center, San Luis Obispo, and Albertson Center in Atascadero. But hurry, sale ends soon.
The Box Express carries boxes for shipping or moving, UPS, FedEx, private mailboxes, notary service, packaging supplies, and is a utility pay station. Go see Lisa at Box Express.
If dedicated, high-level personal service is important to you, when you're ready to buy or sell coins, stamps, gold, or silver, then California Coin and Stamp is your store. You'll find Alan and Lois Crawford there to help you 6 days a week, and you can find them at 253B Granada Way, San Luis Obispo, off South Higuera between Tank Farm Road and Prado Road, or give them a call at 541-8775, 541-8775, and tell them Rick sent you.
This next segment is for you ladies out there, and maybe some of you gentlemen who I'm sure occasionally buy clothing for your wife or your spouse or your significant other. My guests are the owner of the Le Boutique shop in the Rouse Shopping Center. It's 101 and Oak Park Boulevard. It's called Le Boutique, and the owner is Madeline Koonse on the left here. And she has with her a model by the name of Annette Roberts. Now, what they're going to do, right, is show the various accessories that you can change. For example, Annette is wearing a black outfit, which looks very nice as it is, but you're going to show how to accessorize and change the look.
That's exactly what we're going to do.
All right.
And actually, Annette could be in a black outfit, a white outfit, a beige outfit, whatever.
Okay.
So?
What's the first thing you do now to change the look here?
One of the things we thought we'd start out with is just to show the ladies in the area that if you're dressed to the occasion that you're going to, it's a lot easier instead of standing in front of a closet and saying, what will I wear? So we're going to start out with just 2 ensembles of how to go to lunch in this area. And again, she has a solid black outfit on. She could stop right here and it would be okay. But if you add just another little scarf coming around like this, we sort of have 1, 2, or 3 steps above the normal. And better yet, if she has a purse other than the black purse she wears every day, everywhere, it's a really great outfit.
That's
and when
really
we take
nice.
it apart again, remember, we're just taking 3 items off. That's all. Because everyone in this area really has enough clothes in their closet. The last thing they need to do is go out and buy more clothes. Now this is
Tell my wife that, will you? Okay.
This is just shop talk.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Forgive me for not having unbuttoned everything in advance.
By the way,
This
you've
is-
only been there 2 years at the shop so
Yes,
far,
but
huh?
it's a lot of fun. It's like going to a giant playhouse every day.
80% new merchandise, by the way, at wholesale prices, 20% consignment, just
Right.
so you know.
We buy sample merchandise in San Francisco, Seattle, and Los Angeles, and then we bring it back and we sell it at wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
Now this outfit here was an idea of Annette's actually. And this is a Carol Little jacket, and all she's done again is put it over her basic black outfit, and then she actually got to use her basic black bag, which everybody has in their wardrobe. But how many times have you walked into a department store and you see something this active and you say, oh, that's not me? Well, it could be you, because really the color going around her face is her black turtleneck.
Yeah.
So if that's the color that's always around your neck and you're most flattering, you can put anything below and you're still going to look pretty nice.
Okay, that looks nice.
And again, this was the second going out to lunch in this area. Now we're going to switch over to maybe we're going to go grocery shopping or run errands, God forbid. And this is going along with our little denim look. Again, this could be a basic black outfit, basic gray. Can you imagine if gray pants and a gray top
Well,
were
that
with
is
this
nifty.
jacket? The idea to remember is a solid color, top and bottom. And then you put any jacket, any blouse, any vest along with it. She's going grocery shopping, probably with her same black purse, which who knows where that is now.
That's nice.
But if
Very
you're a real denim lover, and let's not fight denim because it's part of this country, as my husband likes to say, this is cattle and oil country. Here is her denim. And again, same outfit underneath. She puts on a jacket, and she looks like she's really going out in style. I want you to remember how little effort this was for her to look this way. And here's a little denim bag that we threw in with this, just for a nice little touch.
Well, let me get some idea of what a top like that denim top would run.
This runs about $34.
That's not bad.
Because it's a sample at wholesale price.
Okay.
And I think the purse is $18 or $19.
I'll bet she's got a purse like that at home already.
Well,
or
the
close to
grocery
it.
clerks are going to faint when they see someone walk up that's this well dressed in the grocery
tell me
store.
about
But
it.
nonetheless, and now we're going to check out some dinner outfits in this area. Again, all she's done to put this whole outfit together is put 2 pieces together. So there's not a need to spend a lot of money on a wardrobe in this area and still look terrific. This is a little kind of a sky blue mottled look with some rust trim here on the collar. Now your first inclination is I'm going to go out and get a blue purse and I'm going to match my blue coat. But live on the edge, gals. Let's
Yeah,
kind
look
of
at that.
match up that rust color, bring that out. If we had time to coordinate earrings, we would have done that too.
Okay.
But we don't. But see, again, can't emphasize how little effort. If you're trying to find out too, the jewelry to go with an outfit, always follow the buttons. And if you'll notice that her buttons here are kind of a wood color brass. So if you want to come in with your jewelry following those buttons, you're always going to look good. You may look in the mirror and think, I do look kind of coordinated and put together and not understand why, but these are why.
Got about a minute and a half left, Madeline.
Well, that's okay. We only have
Might
3
get a
more
couple
hours
more.
to
Cool.
do.
These are really nice.
This is an example of the wild jacket that you can wear and still have that black around your neck or and then turtleneck, the white, the cream, whatever color it is you want. If I have a minute and a half left, what would I
don't
go
now. That was a minute ago.
to? That was a minute ago. Let me just hold this
One
up
more
then.
quickie.
This was our
Oh, that's
really
great.
have fun and go to dinner outfit. Maybe you just hold it up in front of you. Because as fancy as you want to get, going to dinner, bring out all the gold you have and all of the black, put it together, and go to the opera, go to the symphony.
Boy, what a difference that makes.
Go to San Francisco.
That
Turn
is
around.
really nice. By the way, Annette doesn't speak because she doesn't have a SAG card, so I'm just kidding about that. I can't believe what that one little outfit will do and all the changes you can make. That's really, really nifty. And I'll bet that all of that wouldn't have cost more than $300 maybe.
All of what? Oh, everything here?
You've shown. Would that be a safe guess, maybe?
Look how much you can do with just a scarf.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
And
that really is nifty.
Add a little gold purse. And now we'll send you to New York City.
All right. All right, that's Madeline Koonse, owner of La Boutique in the Ralph Shopping Center, 101 and Oak Park Boulevard in Pismo Beach. You are closed on Sunday and Monday, though. We want to make that clear.
That's our
and
weekend.
your daily hours are what?
11 to 6.
11 to 6, okay. Madeline Koonse, thank you very much. Best
Thank
of
you.
luck. And thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate it. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't run away.
Mattress Outlet, your lowest price. Mattress Source, the largest selection. Great prices too. With same-day delivery, it's so easy to do. Factory direct means savings to you. Mattress Outlet, your lowest price. Mattress Source.
Let Meeks light up your life with a wonderful selection of lamps and lighting, both indoor and outdoor lights, for residential, commercial, and landscaping, plus custom-made lamps and repairs. Meeks Electric and Lighting, 984 Grand Avenue, Grover Beach, phone 489-9154.
Advanced Hearing Aid Center in San Luis Obispo offers digital hearing aids for the same cost of conventional hearing aids, and satisfaction is guaranteed. If you think you have a hearing problem, call Alex today for a free hearing evaluation. Don't go a minute longer having to ask people to repeat themselves or having difficulty in hearing people over the phone. The price is right, and the time is now to see Alex for a fitting to begin better hearing at Advanced Hearing Aid Center, 628 California Boulevard, Suite B, in the California Medical Center.
Well, I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, yeah. Well, I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, yeah. She says love her when I'm in need. She's kind of friend, a friend indeed. Yeah, I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, yeah. She saves her lover early in the morning just for me. Whoa, yeah. She saves her lover early in the morning just for me. Whoa, yeah. She saves her lover just for me. She loves me oh so tenderly. Yeah. Way across town, she's good to me. Oh, yeah. She's there to love me both day and night. Never grumbles or fusses, always treats me right. Never runs the streets, leaving me alone. She knows a woman's place is right here in that home. Oh, I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, oh yeah. Well, I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, oh yeah. Well, she's my baby. Don't you understand? She lets me be her loving man. Well, I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, yeah. Well, she's all right. Well, she's all right. Boom. Cut it right there, and good night, everybody.
get to that later in a later tape. All right, now you probably noticed during the past lesson that this timeline, I'm going to make it fill the whole window here for just a second, because we're going to talk about it for a bit. It has a lot of potential for getting out of control. We've got some fairly simple layers here with just a handful of properties animated in each one of the layers. And already we've got something that, even on this screen, which I'll admit is a small monitor, it's taking up most of the screen and it's looking awfully complicated. So the first recommendation I can give you is obviously work at a higher resolution than 640 by 480. But since most of you are almost certainly already doing that, the first useful recommendation I can give you is to get a second monitor. Most machines, Macs, certainly all Macs and PCs now as well, can use 2 monitors running off of 2 cards to create a larger desktop. Get a second monitor and a second video card and use the second monitor primarily to hold the timeline and the occasional small palette that you need to pull out of the way. This will really increase your throughput. This can be a big help in keeping things organized, but it's not an option for everybody. And even for those who do that, it's not going to do you that much good when you get a very complicated project with 40 or 50 or 100 or 200 layers in the composition, which is not unheard of when you're animating things like text and so on. So After Effects gives you a lot of ways to customize this timeline view to make things a little bit easier to manage. You twirl things down again to include just the one property here. The main properties that you're liable to animate in a layer are the 5 properties that show up underneath Transform: your anchor point, position, scale, rotation, and opacity. These all have a keyboard shortcut, and you don't need a command key or an option key or a control key or an alt key. You just need to remember the name of the property to do what's called solo that property in the timeline. For example, make sure the layer is selected. If we knew we only wanted to animate the position property for this layer, just type the letter P for position. Now position is the only property that's visible underneath our little fruit fly. You've got access to all of its keyframes and all of its switches and its values, but you've saved yourself an enormous amount of room in the timeline by just typing the letter P. Type the letter P again, and it goes away. You can do this for more than one layer at a time. Let's select the orange as well as the fruit fly. Type the letter P again. Hey, now we've got our position properties for both of those layers. We're not only animating position, but we're animating scale and we're animating rotation as well. So if you hold the Shift key down, you can add properties to a selection. The letter S, for example, adds scale, and the letter R will add rotation. Pretty cool, huh? As for the other properties, A will get you the anchor point. Opacity is the letter, nope, not O, T. It doesn't make sense until you think in terms of transparency rather than opacity. Or you can think of opacity. It's easier to remember. So opacity is T. The mask tools are M for mask shape and F for mask feather. None of our layers have a mask here right now, so we won't use those right now. We'll talk about those again when we get to masks. So again, let's bring up our scale. Shift P for position, and Shift R for rotation. In addition, if either of these layers had an effect applied to it, typing E would bring up the effect by itself. Now, sometimes you get things set up just the way you'd like it, but you find that you need to temporarily collapse a layer. Unfortunately, when you uncollapse a layer just by clicking on it, all the settings that you carefully set were forgotten. But if you hold the Shift key when you open them back up again, it will remember the solo settings that you had set before. So let's open everything wide again for our fruit fly layer. Now sometimes in a given layer you may be animating a whole bunch of different properties and there's only 1 or 2 things that you don't want in there. Sometimes it's more efficient to subtract these properties from what's visible than it is to solo a whole bunch of properties that you're actually working with. To subtract something, you hold down the Option Shift key on the Mac and the Alt Shift key on the PC, and you click on the name of it, and it goes away. click on the name of a group, and the whole group goes away. So in addition to the transformation properties, there's some other keyboard shortcuts for soloing properties. If we had a music clip in here, the letter L solos the audio levels. Type L again to make it go away. If you want to see the actual audio waveform, type L twice. L, L. Ah, now we have the waveform. If we happen to have a mask, and I'll draw one here really quickly just to illustrate this in our Art Beats Bubbles movie. I'll undo it in just a second. You can look at the mask shape by typing the letter M. You can look at the mask's feather by typing the letter F. You can look at the mask's opacity by typing the letter T twice. TT brings up mask opacity. Now I'm going to undo the mask we just created and show you that the most important keyboard shortcut you can possibly know is the letter U, which brings up all properties which have keyframes for that layer. U is all you need to type to bring up all the properties that you want to work with. Okay, so I've rearranged things a bit so we can see the comp a bit better and see the items in the timeline at the same time. Rather than talk about the properties for a second, I want to talk about the switches over here and how they can help you organize things a bit better. We talked about soloing properties and keeping things neater, but the first of these switches also helps in that respect. These are the shy switches. If you look closely at the icon, it's sort of a Kilroy was here icon of a face and a nose peering over the wall. If you click on it, the face disappears behind the wall, and that means you've made the layer shy. If we tell our fruit fly and our orange and our headshot to be shy, and then click the Hide Shy Layers button, well, those layers disappear from the timeline view. But they're still up here in the comp. We haven't made them invisible. If we wanted to make them invisible, we would have clicked on the little visibility switches. We just don't want to see them in the timeline for now because we want to free up a bit more room to work on some other layers. So by making certain layers shy, you can selectively hide and turn back on layers in the timeline to optimize your workspace. Let's scoot over to the left and deal with these switches over here too. We've talked about the visibility switch. Next to that is the audio icon. If our clips had audio in them, the speaker button would let you turn the audio off or back on again. And this can sometimes be important because a lot of times when you're working with compositions inside of other compositions, or if you duplicate a layer that has audio on it to do something with a mask perhaps, After Effects will add the two audio waveforms together, and sometimes the sound can get distorted because you've got more sound in there than you probably intended it to, and this can just be magnified if you accidentally move a layer around a little bit that has a copy of an audio clip in it. So, if you duplicate a layer that has audio, make sure that you turn the audio off on all the copies that you make of that layer except for one. By clicking on the lock, you can lock a layer, and once you've locked a layer, you're not able to select it anymore or do anything to it. If you try to select it, it gives you a blink to let you know that it's locked. Now let's go back and get rid of Kilroy. And let's look to the right of our shy switches. I'm going to skip over this black sun-looking icon for just a second and talk about this dotted slanted line. This is the quality switch. Now the best way to really illustrate the quality switch is to bring in an Illustrator layer where the results are a little bit more dramatic. So we'll open up our Roman numerals folder and bring in one of our longer Roman numerals. Let's bring in number 8. Doink. And we'll crank that up somewhat. Let's drag our Illustrator file over so it starts at the very beginning frame and talk again about the quality switch. Now the quality switch has two states. This angled line that angles to the left looks sort of stair-steppy and jaggy. That means it's in draft quality. The angled line that goes to the right looks much, much cleaner, and that's telling us that it's in best quality. The switch is a toggle between draft quality and best quality. So we've turned our headshot to draft, and we've got our Roman numerals set to draft, but if we look at them, you can see there's a huge difference between the Illustrator file and the Photoshop file. When the Illustrator files are brought in at draft quality, they don't look terribly good. The edges are terribly, terribly jaggy when set to draft quality. They're sort of quickly sampled in at 72 dpi, whatever screen DPI is at its original size, and you're left with these really jaggy edges. When you flip it switch over to high quality, you'll see that its edges get much, much smoother and much cleaner. Of course, you'll also notice in the case of our Illustrator file that those edges get a lot fuzzier. Well, that's because even though we're looking at it in high quality, this Illustrator file is still only ripped into the screen and into memory at 72 dpi at whatever scale this file was originally created, which in this case was pretty small. So you bring in an Illustrator file that's small, comes in at 72 dpi, and you scale it up, and even at best quality, it gets very soft. To fix this softness, we'll use the little sun icon that we skipped over a second ago. The sun icon with an Illustrator file means continually rasterize. When you're working with a composition and you turn on the little sun icon, it means that you're collapsing the geometrics of that layer, which is a fairly complicated thing that I'll explain in a later tape. But right now you need to know that if you're working with Illustrator files and you're scaling them up and they don't look clean enough, just turn on continually rasterize. When you do, you'll see that your Illustrator file gets completely clean, razor sharp, no matter how big you scale it. It maintains great quality. Earlier on, you saw pretty clearly demonstrated the difference between scaling up our headshot at draft quality and scaling it up at best quality. When it's just a still and it's just sitting here, our headshot, our glaring man, really looks pretty good. But when you actually scale the geometry in draft quality, you'll notice a lot of stair-stepping, etc. in the scale. By turning on best quality, you'll clean up the scaling and get true sub-pixel scaling that looks really beautiful. So that's one way to speed things up. You can keep things set to draft quality and things will behave a lot quicker, and while you're working with stuff, that's often good enough. But again, remember, when working with Illustrator files, it's best, if you can, to continually rasterize them. The only downside to using a continually rasterized Illustrator file is that you're not allowed to apply any effects to it once you're continually rasterizing it. But there are ways around that as well, primarily by pre-composing, which we'll talk about on a later tape. Speaking of effects, if we turn off continually rasterizing, and in fact we can get rid of our Roman numeral here, if we apply an effect such as a quick Gaussian blur or fast blur to our bubbles, crank the value up pretty high, you can see that on a frame-by-frame basis, things start to move a lot slower. Well, you might want to get this background layer tweaked exactly the way you like, but then when you're concentrating on foreground elements, you might want to temporarily turn the effect off, and that's what this switch is for. The effects switch lets you temporarily toggle off and back on effects. It's a temporary thing. You leave all the effects information intact in the effects window, and you can override that switch setting in the render queue when it comes time to actually output the movie, so don't worry if you've accidentally forgotten to turn the switch back on again. But that can be a way to speed things up, turn off effects on a layer when you're not working on that layer anymore. We'll delete that once again. Next switch is underneath this little film strip icon. You'll also notice it only applies to the layer that's a movie. Well, that's correct. This is a frame blending switch, and you can only do frame blending to time-based elements that have frames, movies or sequences of images. You can't generally time blend a comp or any other type of animation, because what frame blending does is it actually crossfades between frames. You wouldn't notice anything at all if we were to turn on frame blending and enable it here in the timeline. You just wouldn't notice it on a movie that's running at its normal speed. If we were to time stretch this movie so it was running much, much slower, say instead of a 12-second duration, we wanted a 48-second duration. So we're stretching this to 400% of its original scale. With frame blending turned on and quality set to best, if we look at the movie now, you'll see that as we progress through the image, the bubbles smoothly transform from one frame to the next frame rather than just holding for 3 frames and then, boom, moving on to the next frame. So frame blending is a great way to smooth out footage. Now this isn't smoothing things out geometrically, it's just doing crossfades. So it's not like the sort of thing that you can create ultra slow-mo, but you can greatly enhance the quality of your video when you time remap it or slow it down. Again, we'll talk about this in much greater detail later on. Turn that off. The next switch, as we've already talked about, enables a geometric motion blur. An important thing I want to point out about this that is a possible catch is that there's also an effect in the blur and sharpen menu called motion blur. So when someone asks you to put a motion blur on something, in all likelihood, they really want you to enable the geometric motion blur down here and not simply add the motion blur effect, which works just like Photoshop's motion blur effect and allows you to blur elements in one direction. Of course, you can animate that direction. But nonetheless, usually when people are talking about put motion blur on that, they usually mean they want you to enable motion blur down here in the timeline. And the last switch turns a layer into an adjustment layer. An adjustment layer is similar to the concept of an adjustment layer in Photoshop, where you apply a layer and that layer affects everything that's underneath it. In fact, you can apply a sort of Photoshop-style adjustment layer by picking New Adjustment Layer from the Layer window. And now if we apply an effect, say a Gaussian blur, crank that up, you'll see everything that's underneath the adjustment layer is now getting blurred. But now note that if I move my adjustment layer back a couple of layers, say behind the fruit fly and the orange, you'll see that the fruit fly and the orange are still perfectly focused, while only what's behind the adjustment layer is now blurred. So we've got our headshot and our Art Beats bubbles are both blurry. Again, if we move our adjustment layer back one level, now the headshot comes back into focus and only the bubbles are blurry. But what's really cool about this is that any layer can be an adjustment layer. In the case of just an all-purpose adjustment layer like that one, it affects the entire scene. But look at our glaring man. Our glaring man is a still with an alpha channel so that he's transparent everywhere that you don't see head. If we use the glaring man now as an adjustment layer, the RGB values will go away, but now any effect we apply to glaring man, let's apply the same effect that we applied before, Gaussian blur, and crank the values up. Now the glaring man becomes the adjustment layer, and everything that was underneath the opaque part of the glaring man layer is now working as an adjustment layer on the Bubbles movie that's behind it. So this is a very powerful way to localize effects. Any kind of mask or any kind of alpha channel can be used to specify where you want to apply an effect on underlying layers. Very, very cool way to work, and we'll go into that in a lot more detail in subsequent tapes. And that's our tour of the switches. All right, now let's talk about resolution for a second. We just talked about the quality switch, which lets you toggle between best quality and draft quality, but draft quality is even sometimes a little too high quality to work with quickly. But look at this even. I mean, to render out a RAM preview, even with a simple animation like this, it still takes a second or so a frame to think about what's going on. Part of the reason for that is it's calculating a motion blur on the orange. It's pulling numbered picked files and turning them into a movie off of a hard drive, and it's basically calculating a whole bunch of stuff to screen. Well, sometimes we want things to go a bit faster. We can always toggle to best quality to see how things look, but sometimes, particularly in the case of harder to calculate effects, we need to bump things down even further to be able to work with them more quickly. To do that, you change the resolution of a composition that you're working in. There's a resolution setting in the View menu up here, which allows you to pick a full, half, third, quarter, or a custom value. But I find it's a lot more convenient to use the resolution pop-up at the bottom of the comp window, which gives you the choice of the same values. Full, half, third, quarter, whatever. You can bump your resolution down, which greatly speeds up how things behave. This sets the resolution for the entire comp. It's not a layer-by-layer thing. It sets the whole composition. And when you set it, for example, to half resolution, what the composition is now doing is rendering only 1 pixel for every 2 horizontal and 2 vertical pixels. So it's only rendering 1 pixel for every square of 4 pixels, and that speeds things up quite a bit. If I do a RAM preview now, we won't see that big a speed up because resolution doesn't really speed things up like spooling things off a disk. But let's see what happens if I turn off the bubbles. Now you're really seeing a speed up. Now you'll need to decide on the fine line between adjusting the resolution down until things are almost impossible to see. You can crank things down, of course, to like quarter resolution, but things start getting really blocky at that point. I mean, if you want to get really wacky, you can even set custom resolutions, say 10 pixels by 10 pixels. And yep, it certainly speeds things up, but it's almost impossible to see what's going on, so that may be of limited value. Now, all of these settings that you make in a composition can be overridden when it comes time to go out and actually render your movie, so don't worry too much about keeping different comps at different resolutions. You can always set them back to best resolution when the time comes to output the movie. Well, in this first tape, we've taken our first close look at parts of the After Effects interface and created a simple animation. You've learned that a 640 by 480 screen is a really ridiculous size to try to do anything in AE, and you've discovered that you can never have enough RAM. In tape 2, we'll pick up with a couple of slick animation techniques. Play around with the concepts you've seen so far. Poke around with the buttons we've talked about until you think you know what they do, and above all, have fun. For Total AE, I'm Brian Maffett, and I'll see you in the next tape. Bye.